Hey everyone, Mr. Sujano here, your source for gaming, tech, emulation, and open source news. Let's get started. Alright, we'll kick things off talking about Red Dead Redemption and Red Dead Redemption heading to PC. It turns out that Sony may have leaked this information and not Rockstar Games and not anyone else data mining. Sony listed this information right on the PlayStation Store page. Now, since then, Sony has removed the information, but not before a whole bunch of people grabbed screenshots of the entire thing, and here's what it used to say. Experience the epic Western adventures that defined a generation, now on PC for the first time ever, featuring the complete single-player experiences of both games, including bonus content from the Game of the Year edition. Red Dead Redemption features all of the 2023 console version upgrades, plus PC-specific enhancements, including support for increased resolutions and frame rates, multiple displays, other accessories, plus spatial surround sound. Now, I think it's safe to say that Red Dead Redemption is confirmed to be heading to PC, and we're probably going to hear more news about it sooner rather than later. I would say it's about damn time, but let me know your thoughts about this one in the comments below. But moving on, and next up we're talking about Nintendo Switch emulation with Ryujinx, and Ryujinx got a small update here that may be important for people with AMD graphics cards. So as of Ryujinx version 1.1.1374 on AMD graphics cards using Vulkan, it fixes crashes when running certain mods, such as character swaps in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. Moving on, and we're talking about an N64 game that's making its way to modern consoles in physical format, and that's Glover. And it appears that Glover is going to be physically released by Limited Run Games. According to the Limited Run website, the cost for these is $35 each. It will be headed to the Switch and also PS5, surprisingly not the PS4. And speaking about the N64, next up we're talking about N64 controller replacement parts, and Hyperkin has just launched the Hall Effect joystick module. This is a replacement joystick for the N64. It should just be a drop-in, plug-and-play kind of situation. And this is Hall Effect, and it's a GameCube style instead of the N64 stick. I would say it's probably going to feel better than the standard N64 stick, and may perform better than a worn-out kind of broken stick if you've used your N64 controller a whole lot over the years. Now, some people have said that Hyperkin's replacement won't be as good as the original N64 stick, and I would say maybe if the original N64 stick was completely brand new. For example, buying one of those replacement parts from that vending machine for Nintendo in Japan. Anyways, here this is, I would say, probably better or at least worth a gamble at $15. Let me know your thoughts about this one in the comments below. However, I would also say that 8BitDo has a very similar product and just for a little bit more money here. This one is at $20 for their Hall Effect joystick. And they've also got a complete kit to turn your N64 controller into a Bluetooth one. Next up here is a friendly heads up if you're a fan of Sega Rally 2 on PC. Someone's got the original Sega Rally 2 PC version working on Windows 10. They say here they're proud to say that the 1999 Rally game is now 100% working, CD audio, controller support, and so much more. If you are curious about this one and wanted to learn more about it, I'll drop a link to this tweet in the description below and feel free to check it out. And speaking about stuff working again, next up we're talking about OutRun 2006 Tweaks, and Tweaks version 0.5 online restoration just dropped. And they say here, OutRun 2006 Tweaks 0.5 can now point C2C to our replacement master server, allowing online to work after 15 plus years of being down. If you are curious about this one, I'll drop a link to the GitHub in the description below and feel free to check it out. And if you play OutRun 2006 coast to coast, let me know in the comments below. And speaking about things continuing to be accessible, next up we're talking about ROM hacking. Now, the other week we talked about the unfortunate news of romhacking.net shutting down, and it appears there may be a replacement here. So this site used to be romhacks.org, and now it's been rebranded, there's brand new ownership, and it's risen up as RomHack Plaza. I'm very curious to see what happens with this site moving forward, but things are looking promising. I mean, one of the latest things I can see on this website is a brand new fan translation. It's an English translation called Transformers: The Mystery of Optimus Prime, which is a translation of Transformers Convoy no Nazo for the NES. Let me know your thoughts about this in the comments below. Next up, we're quickly talking about an update to Fallout London, or rather an update from the Fallout London team. Now, we've talked about Fallout London a bunch on this channel. It's a mod for Fallout 4 that was released over on GOG, and it's a fan mod and it's been very successful. Anyways, here the Fallout London team apparently wants to start their own indie studio. I am very curious to see what happens moving forward, but if you wanted to see the interview, I'll drop a link to this BBC video in the description below and feel free to check it out. And speaking about developers and studios, next up we're talking about Terminator Survivors. The development team has announced that they are delaying the game until 2025. To be honest with you, I am absolutely fine with studios delaying games. I think that's a smart call instead of pushing for a release and having a broken game and damaging PR right from the get-go. I mean, we've seen a whole bunch of games rushed and then the final product, or not the final product, the initial launch is just not that great and the game takes a long time to recover from it. I'd rather studios just take their time and release a good game right from the get-go, but I might be wrong. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Next up, this is some great news if you're a fan of fighting games, and specifically Capcom fighting games, and specifically older Capcom fighting games. Apparently here, Capcom wants to revive all of its legacy fighting games on modern platforms. And that includes stuff like Third Strike and possibly a whole bunch others. I mean, I could list games for a long time here. Now, I've got no idea if this is actually going to happen, and I'm obviously cautious as to what the end result is going to be. I mean, there have been some problems with some of their previous releases, but at the same time here, this is very good news that a lot of these games are not being forgotten. Let me know your thoughts about this one, and let me know your favorite Capcom fighting game in the comments below. And speaking about legacy or classic games, next up we're talking about Doom 2. Now, I talked about Doom and Doom 2 just the other day, and now I'm talking about Doom 2 again here. This is something completely different and something completely awesome. Doom 2 Ray Traced. No, I am not joking with you. I'll drop a link to this YouTube video in the description below and feel free to check it out. I think this breathes entirely new life into the game. So at the time of filming, Doom 2 Ray Traced version 1.0.2 just dropped. This is free, it's open source, but it does require a copy of Doom and Doom 2. And speaking about GitHub, next up we're talking about a GitHub repository you might be interested in if you're a fan of FPGA or the Philips CDI, or possibly both. It's called CDI Playground, and it's a repo dedicated to create an FPGA implementation of the Philips CDI to be usable for the MiSTer project. If you are curious about this one, I'll drop a link to it in the description below. They say it is very experimental and use it at your own risk. But I'm assuming based on how coding for MiSTer cores have gone recently that the end result for this is probably going to be pretty good. And last up here, we're talking about Sega Saturn emulation on iOS with Yaba Sanshiro, or rather Yaba Sanshiro. So we talked about Yaba Sanshiro 2 Pro the other day. It's the paid version of the Sega Saturn emulation that launched on the App Store. And now the free version of the emulator has also launched. They may have mistyped the title of this one though, but that's okay. Now, according to the description of the free version here, it says you can install only 3 games. So I guess they're trying to push people to the paid version. No surprise. But anyways, that is all I've got for you in this one. Straight to the point, all stuff and no fluff. We talked about a bunch today. Let me know your thoughts about absolutely any of it in the comments below. If you like this video, leave a like. If you didn't like this video, leave a like. Hit that subscribe button. Check out my other videos. Don't tempt fate, save your state.